Hi folks, I'm Jane from Beyond the Empty Nest. So welcome to this live video. Before we start, let's just take a moment. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, breathe in. Hi Karen, just in time for the shoulders, shrugging, breathing out, release. Nice. And coming up with the shoulders, breathe in, breathing out. Lovely. So just take a moment, settle, start to feel that you are maybe relaxing a little bit, just slowing the breathing down. And I invite you today to just listen with your heart, see what it is that you need to hear from this video. And just be open, who knows? Who knows? So today I want to talk about something that affects all of us in this group, the menopause. Yeah. And yeah, the menopause, it affects every aspect of our lives. Everything from our relationships to our self-esteem, to our bodies, to our moods, everything. And the main problems, I think, or the things that really can create such difficulties for us with the menopause are our emotions, and particularly depression and anxiety. Those are the emotions that really do affect us deeply. And I've suffered myself with depression and anxiety. And depression is something that it sucks the life out of you. It's heavy. It's exhausting, and it's like we're looking at everything. They say looking through rose-tinted glasses. Well, depression. Hi, Tina. Depression is the opposite of rose-tinted glasses, isn't it? Depression is looking at through glasses where everything looks negative. Everything that it's a feeling of despair. It's a feeling of hopelessness. It's a very lonely place, is depression. And it's a feeling that we're disconnected from ourselves and we're disconnected from everyone else. And I know for me that when I was at in the height of my depression, or the depths of my depression, it was the loneliest place to be. So if that is affecting you, I know that is a really difficult place to be. And on top of that, anxiety is that fear, isn't it, that we've talked about before. It paralyzes us. It stops us doing things. We never know when that fear is going to wash over us. It constricts us. It tightens us. It feels like our very survival is at stake when we are in that mode of being fearful. And it could be big things that set it off, but it could be small things. And what happens with that fear is that we restrict our lives. We don't do things that we want to do. It stops us doing what we want to do because we're frightened that fear is going to strike, and we're going to be in situations that we can't handle. We lose our trust in ourselves. So it robs us of everything that makes life worth living. And it can be, that severe when you're in the depths of that depression and you're in the grip of anxiety. So those emotions, and everything is changing at midlife. Everything is changing. Everything, our families, our structures. A lot of people find they're going through a divorce, they've lost their partners, their parents are ill or dying, our children are leaving home. Everything that we try and cling to that's familiar is changing. And even our own identity is changing, so that we can't even cling to that. And at that time of change, our deepest fears surface. And it's almost, it's like a loss of what might have been, a loss of identity. And there's a grieving process that goes with that. So the emotions that occur around the time of perimenopause and the menopause are really life-changing and so difficult for many of us. And, you know, I know a lot of you have posted in the group and it feels like your life is falling apart and you feel powerless. And yeah, it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And we do blame this on the menopause. And yes, the menopause does create these hormonal changes. But I think that blaming it on the menopause, or blame in general, keeps us stuck. Because what we're saying is, I've got no control over this. It's the menopause. What can I do? You know, and it keeps us powerless. It keeps us stuck. It robs us of control of our lives. So I'd like to look at the menopause a little bit differently. And just talk about hormones. And in our younger years, our reproductive hormones, they gear us up for looking after other people. And I think everybody in this group has had children. And our hormones gear us up for nurturing, for looking after those children, for looking after others. And not only just our hormones, but society, the way that women are perceived in society, the way that we perceive ourselves as women in society, we're geared up for putting everyone else's needs first. You might relate to that. And what we do is we push our own needs down. We bottle up our feelings. We don't address our needs, our desires, our yearnings. We don't address any of that. We don't look at that. We don't have healthy boundaries for ourselves. We're too busy looking after other people. And we push down all our hurts, all our emotions that are unresolved, or everything that makes us who we are. We tend to push it down. And, you know, we do it gladly at the time because we're focused on nurturing our families and looking after people. But I think there's an imbalance, especially in society as women, in that. And for some of us, it becomes very powerful, that message, that we you know, push down everything that we need. But so that happens in our younger years. And then at the menopause, the hormones that occur, or the hormonal changes, should I say, that occur around the menopause, they literally rewire the brain. There's been quite a lot of research about this. The hormones change the brain. And what they do is, what happens is, our desires are rekindled. Our unresolved hurts rise to the surface. Our emotions that we haven't dealt with rise to the surface. And the reason this happens is because it's designed for us now, when we're not in that stage of looking after our children, it's designed to help us resolve those unresolved emotions, to look at our yearnings and our desires, and to look at what is that we want out of life. And that's an amazing thing. That is what it's about. But what tends to happen so often is we still push it down. We're so used to pushing down those feelings that when they come up, first of all, we don't know how to deal with it. We don't have an outlet for it. We don't, you know, we don't look into it. We remain silent. We don't know how to address it. We're not used to looking at our own needs. We push them down even still. And what happens is there's this tension because your hormones are kicking in and your brain is being rewired and it's saying, come on, you need to deal with this, you need to deal with this. And we're kind of going, no, I'm not sure, I don't know what to do, what's going on. And that's when we create these feelings of depression, anxiety, these emotions that overwhelm us. And you know, they say that depression is anger turned inwards. Depression is anger turned inwards. Because as women, we're not good at expressing anger. You know, we tend to turn it in on ourselves. And we might know what we're angry about, or we might not. We might have an anger that's subconscious, but there's anger there because we've done this to ourselves. We've pushed ourselves into a box. And so what happens at this time is, you know, we blame our hormones and we blame the menopause, but actually what it's about is the opportunity to finally address these issues, these unresolved hurts and pains of the past. And there's evidence that, you know, that stress and unresolved emotions such as anger actually are behind a lot of the hormonal changes that are going on. So a lot of the things that we say, you know, is due to the menopause, yes, it is, but actually it's those emotions, those unresolved emotions that we're not dealing with that are causing that, you know, that hurt and that pain and those big hormonal shifts and swings. And you probably know it yourself. For example, you know, in other symptoms of the menopause, such as the hot flushes, you might notice yourself that when you're stressed, either through diet that stresses us, I know for me alcohol and sugar stresses my body and my hot flushes are worse, but emotional stress and emotional upheaval can make those smaller symptoms worse, such as the hot flushes, and actually hot flushes can be mega. But so it's those changes it's like those emotions, that are creating these big hormonal swings, because it's the body trying to say, come on, deal with this. And the more we don't deal with it, the more those hormones swing out of balance. But the good thing is, and it's not about being, you know, it's not about beating ourselves up or feeling guilty or thinking, oh my goodness, I'm doing this to myself. It's not about that, because that just makes it worse. It's about knowing this. And once you know this, you've got knowledge, you've got information, and you can say, okay, hang on a minute, maybe there is something I can do about this. You know, maybe I can start to look at this. And, you know, it is looking at these things that arise is really difficult. We've got to be prepared to take responsibility for our problems. We've got to be prepared to move out of that victim mode, because I know that there's lots going on for people, but being in that victim mode, it doesn't serve you. It really doesn't serve you. You are meant for more than this. So we have to start taking responsibility for our problems. And the second thing is we have to be prepared to feel those emotions. We have to be prepared to let them come up and, you know, and then release them. But we have to be prepared to go there and not push them down. And that's really, really difficult. I know that that's really difficult. But just know that by attending to your emotions, you are giving yourself the opportunity to live the life that you deserve to live. That you are not caged and held back by these emotions, particularly depression and anxiety. And you know, the brain and the hormones are an amazing thing. They're connected so much to our thoughts and our beliefs. We know this, don't we? I don't know if you've ever had the thing where you maybe get a great idea and you've got energy and you're like, yes, this is a great idea. And then one little doubt creeps in. One doubt. You're thinking, oh, maybe I can't do this. You feel your energy drains away and you're deflated. Your thoughts are so, so powerful. And the other thing is, when we're under stress, the other thing that I've discovered is that the body lays down fat differently. And we lay down more fat when we're under stress. So things like weight gain, you know, we think we've got no control, but that's part of that process of dealing with our emotions. So the body literally is shoring you up for, you know, having to deal with challenges, and we lay down more fat. And not only that, but we all know that when we're more stressed, it's very difficult. We might comfort eat, and it's more difficult to make changes to our diet and to create healthy habits when we're stressed, when we're going through those emotions. So it affects everything, you know, every aspect, the mood swings, the hot flushes, the emotional upheaval that create so much devastation in our lives. And I know that a lot of you have felt that devastation. Hi, Julie. But the good news is we need, you know, we can do something about this. And it's not easy. It's not easy to deal with all those unresolved emotions. I understand that. But you're not on your own. So if you are, you know, sick and tired of waking up with dread, with a pit, you know, the feeling in the pit of your stomach, going through your day, struggling through your day, going through the motions, feeling like these emotions are sucking the life and the joy out of you. If you're sick and tired of that, and if you're ready to, you know, move towards that life that you deserve, that you owe it to yourself to have this life, the second half of our lives, you owe it to yourself to work with this and transform and use this time of the menopause, because that's what it's here for, to finally deal with all those emotions that you've been pushing down for years. Finally looking at what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, what do you want out of life. It's your time. So if you're ready to make that transformation, if you want to take that step, please reach out to me, message me, and we can arrange a call, we can talk about it. Because I am here to serve you, and I know that you can do this. I know you can. I hold you in the highest light, and I know that you're resourceful, and I know that you can find a way through this with help. Reach out your hand. That's the first step. So that's all I want to say for today. I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you, ladies, for joining me. I honour your bravery. I honour your willingness to show up and be open and be vulnerable. Sometimes vulnerability can be our greatest strength because we're so used to being stoic, and that doesn't serve us either. So thank you so much. I'm wishing you love and light, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on the next video. Lots of love.